Alexandra Christian. Welcome back to my channel. Today is another edition of Lipstick and Lit, the web show where I talk about books and do my makeup. I thought it was kind of an interesting concept, especially when you're like me, you're like, why is she doing a makeup tutorial? It's not really tutorials. It's just me talking about books while I do my makeup. And so last time I talked about my new release, Falling into Rhythm, which is coming out from Mocha Memoirs Press on September the 15th. So if you have not pre-ordered that book yet, you need to go over, I will put some links down at the bottom, you need to go over and get that book immediately so that I will have the money to do more of these videos, right? So anyway, this week I'm gonna start doing something a little different. Instead of just talking about my books, I'm going to talk about books that I'm reading and do reviews, because I read a lot of romance and a lot of horror and stuff, and there's always people who are wanting to know what kinds of books they ought to be reading. So I thought that would be kind of an interesting thing to do. This week I was supposed to review the book Lover Unleashed, which is, I think, book 6 in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series by J.R. Ward. That's what I had said I was going to do, but because that was the book that I read last week while I was at the beach. But I decided that I would rather start from the beginning, because there might be some of you poor unfortunate souls who have not started the Black Dagger Brotherhood series yet, so you wouldn't know what I was talking about. So I'm going to go back and review Dark Lover, which is the first in that series, in the next couple of weeks probably. But this, I also decided this week to change up what I was going to do, what I had planned to do, because we never go by plans. I discovered that Stephenie Meyer, you know, the grand dame of vampire romance fiction, some people might say that she ruined vampire romance fiction, but I digress. She came out this week with Midnight Sun, which is not a sequel to Twilight. It is actually the Twilight story told from Edward Cullen's point of view. I hope that someday that I am rich enough as a writer to be able to write the same story over and over with a new point of view. More power to her for doing that. So I thought what I would do is I would just kind of read this book with you guys, and I read chapter 1 last night. I went and bought it. I went to Books A Million. I picked it up and started reading it, and I read the first chapter. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. While I'm doing my primer, I was going to tell you guys, you know, I've lost my primer. I used to kind of poo-poo the Twilight series when it first came out. I really resisted buying it, because I don't know, I was not really into the YA thing. I was, you know, I read paranormal romance at that time, like Alora's Cave paranormal romance. I was like, I just don't think I'd be interested in it. And a friend of mine turned me on to Twilight because she had read it. She's actually another author, Amy Ravenel. Get a plug for her book, White Spirit, really good. But anyhow, she had sort of told me about it. She's also a librarian, and she had said, you know, oh, you need to read this book. It's so good. You'll really like it. I really think it's like right up your alley. And I was like, I just don't know. I just didn't think it was for me. Well, the summer after it came out, in 2008, my mother passed away after a very long illness. And it was really hard on me, and so my friend was talking to me about it, and she said, now is the perfect time for you to read the Twilight book, because I really think it's going to take your mind off of things. And so I just she gave me her copy, and I was like, I still didn't have much faith that I was going to like it. Hold on just a second, you guys. I forgot my sponge. Okay, so sorry about that. You guys, I forgot my beauty blender. Anyhow, I started reading Twilight the summer after it came out, after a lot of resistance, because my mother had just passed away, and I just really needed something to escape. And so my family went to the beach, and I took Twilight with me, and I started reading it, and I could not put it down. It gets a lot of flack for not being very well written. It gets a lot of flack for just being completely unrealistic, and Edward is creepy, and blah 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 blah. And all of that has a grain of truth to it. I don't want to discount anybody's opinion, because a lot of that is true. There are some places in there where Edward's behavior is a little problematic. Bella acts like an idiot, the whole thing. But the thing you have to remember about Twilight is the original book was an YA book. Okay, it wasn't made for us. It just wasn't us. It was not for us adult ladies of a certain age. The fact that we latched onto it and enjoyed it is great, but that was not the intention of the author. Bella reacts to things the way a 17-year-old girl would react to things. So that, all that being said, I read the first one. I absolutely loved it. And the whole time I'm flipping through it going, oh my God, she keeps doing such stupid things. But as soon as I finished one, I had to go out and get the next one. And so I ended up reading all of them within, I read all the ones that were out at the time really, really quickly. The fourth one, we'll have to talk about the fourth one later because I still have some issues with it. But anyway, so Ms. Meyer decided that she was going to do a book of Twilight from Edward's point of view. And it was my understanding that she started doing this on her website. It's kind of like a fan fiction-y type thing. And I mean, I don't think that she really intended for anybody to see it. But here we are, how many years later, 12 years later, and 15 years later, and she is, all about it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to use my camera as my mirror for a second because I don't have a hand free to pick my mirror up. So anyway, Midnight Sun. The very first thing that I noticed about it is very obviously, Stephenie Meyer has grown a lot as a writer since writing Twilight, in my opinion. The wording is a lot more sophisticated, and I don't know if that's because of the point of view thing, or if that is just showing her growth as a writer, but I'm actually kind of impressed. Her sentences are a lot more complex than the original Twilight book. And it just seems like she's kind of gotten a handle on how to actually, on the technique of being a writer. So technically, it's actually, and granted, I've only read the first chapter, you guys, you're taking this journey with me. It's only the first chapter, so, that I could change my opinion, but, I think she's grown a lot as a writer, since the publication of the first one, which, is always the trick, is to grow as a writer. I mean, I know that my writing is probably a lot different now than it was when I first started writing, for publication in 2010. So that's good. So that part is good. The second thing I've noticed about the book is, oh my God, why didn't she write the original from Edward's point of view? It's so obvious. It seems so much more effortless for her to have written the book from Edward's point of view. The way Edward's voice is so much more clear than Bella's was. It just seems a lot more effortless for her, which makes me think that maybe she started out writing the book from Edward's point of view, and then somebody told her, this is a YA romance, a YA vampire romance. You can't have the guy's point of view. You have to tell the whole thing from the girl's point of view. Which, we kind of get to be slaves to tropes. And I understand that. I mean, I've had that same conversation with myself. You know, you can't have, you know, this person's point of view because they're not the hero or they're not the heroine or whatever, you know. But I feel like maybe somebody told her that, and so she started rewriting from Bella's point of view. I don't know if that's the case or not. But it just seems like she's more comfortable. That's the right word. That's the word I'm looking for. She seems a lot more comfortable writing from Edward's point of view. And you could tell in the original book that the person's story that she was really interested in telling was Edward's. You know, she was way more interested in the vampire lifestyle and everything than she was in even Bella's life. So anyway, that was just my 2 cents on it. I'm also so far really impressed that we've got Edward, for the first time in the entire Twilight saga, Edward is behaving like a vampire. His thoughts are the way of vampires would be. Now, I think that this is going to pose a problem for people who are hardcore lovers of the first book, because I think they're going to, people who were so strong Team Edward when they read the first book, I think are going to be a little bit taken aback, maybe, by Edward's tone. Edward is not the perfect knight in shining armor that he was painted as in the original series. His thoughts are vampiric. The first time he sees Bella, he's not in love, he's hungry. And that comes across very, very much in the first chapter of the book. So I was like, hells yeah, you go, Stephanie. I was kind of afraid that she was going to back away from that, but she doesn't seem to, not yet. I still haven't seen anybody bite anybody. And that's what I was always waiting for in the original Twilight book. I was like, these people are vampires. Can somebody just like bite somebody for God's sake? But so I don't think that's going to happen here either, because it's supposed to be the same story. But, you know, come on now. So I think that people are going to be surprised. I hope that they will be pleasantly surprised. I'm kind of afraid that they may be, I'm sorry the camera's shaking, you guys. I have to do this on my bed because, I don't have a good studio space anywhere except in my bedroom, so I have to deal with a little bit of shaking. But anyway, I think that I hope it doesn't. I really hope it doesn't, but I think that some people who are hardcore, have been hardcore Twilight fans, twihards, if you will, may be a little bit taken aback by Edward. That being said, one of the criticisms that I have of this first chapter is I'm a little worried. Edward seems to be a little catty, you know? He doesn't find Bella particularly attractive until he wants to eat her, and not in a happy, fun way. And I was a little, it's a romance. I think he should be a little intrigued by her for more than just food. Just saying. It's a little critique. But it definitely, kills that love at first sight thing, you know, which, again, that might be a real big surprise to some people. Okay, so, another thing that I'm really enjoying is, of course, Edward has the ability to read the thoughts of other people. He can hear other people's thoughts, which I don't think was utilized very well in the books to start with. I mean, it is, but it's kind of like, it's a plot point that's a means to an end. He always talks about being able to hear other people's thoughts, but you don't get to hear what those thoughts are. They actually did a better job with Alice's telepathy than they did with Edward, in my opinion. But I'm really enjoying being able to hear Edward's, Edward being able to hear other people's thoughts. Totally confirming what I always knew about Jessica Stanley. She's a bitch, man. Jessica is a bitch. I don't know why Bella ever even bothers with her. You know, we get Jessica through all the books, and I'm like, does nobody else realize that Jessica is kind of a pill? And so we get to see her thoughts through Edward's eyes, of course, and yeah, she is a pill. And I really enjoyed that. I thought that was great. I also thought it was really nice, and this may be because I'm totally an Angela. We also get to see that Angela is genuinely a nice girl. You know, she genuinely is interested in getting to know Bella. She's genuinely empathetic, and she's the only one that doesn't seem to be obsessed with Edward either. She's just a regular girl, and she doesn't really, you know, she's shy. She's kind of like I was in high school. She's not, you know, super popular, but she's not unpopular. And she's not really concerned about it. You know, she's very, she likes people for who they are. She's not really interested in, you know, social status or any of that crap. And I thought that was really refreshing. I would actually like to see more with Angela. I think she's a good character. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that part of it. So yeah, so far so good. You know, I mean, it might not be the best thing ever written, but I can definitely see why people enjoy it the way that they do. You know, people, me being one of those people. It's not something that you have to think too hard about. It's comfort food, and I feel like that's probably why the 70s publishers wanted to put that out right now, because dear heavens, we all need a little bit of that, you know, not quite bleak sort of. I think we're kind of all like the anti-dystopia right now as far as what we're interested in reading. We got too much crap going on in the world. So I think that this book is going to be a breath of fresh air for me. Hopefully. I hope it's going to be. Things that I hope to see coming up in the book. I'm interested to see Edward's inner monologue about his reactions to Bella and her complete obsession with him. That's one of the things that I think a lot of people probably have a hard time with in the original book, is that Bella seems pathologically obsessed with Edward. I mean, like, from the moment that they meet, she seems to be pathologically obsessed with him. And that can be a problem. And I'm not sure that that's something that you want to really bring out to young girls. I mean, I'm not sure that that's a healthy precedent to set. I'm also interested in what she's going to... Edward's thoughts on him sneaking into Bella's room at night and watching her. What's that about? That's one of the reasons why a lot of critics of the book said that Edward was really creepy, because he was doing things like he was stalking her and watching her at night and all this other stuff. So I'm kind of wondering if that's going to be resolved in this book. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff I'm really looking forward to about the book. Oh, the werewolves. I'm kind of interested to know what went on with the, you know, what's going on. We hear the story about the cold ones and everything from the werewolf perspective in the original series. Are we going to get the story from the vampire perspective? Because there's two sides to every story. So I'm kind of interested to see about that. I was thinking the movies were on television the other day, and I was watching them. And I was thinking, it's a shame that Stephenie Meyer didn't decide to do a spin-off series about the Wolf Pack, because I think that would be really interesting. And I'm Team Edward all the way. But I think that doing a series of books about the Wolf Pack would be great too. I was always particularly interested in Leah's character, so I would like to know more about what happens with them, and maybe that's something that she's got in the pipeline. I don't know. I don't have insider information, but so yeah. Oh, and another thing that I'm really interested to see, and I was glad that she's kind of planted seeds in the first chapter, and I hope that she continues with it. Edward tells a little bit about his brothers and sisters, as he reads their thoughts and things like that. In the first chapter, he kind of talks about what Rosalie is thinking and what Emmett is thinking and his perspective on their personalities. I get the impression so far that he kind of thinks Emmett is a dumbass. So I don't think Emmett is a dumbass. I think Emmett is just a very earthy kind of person. He's very much here and now, he's not all up in his head. And that doesn't mean that he's dumb. So yeah, I'm really interested to see more about the backgrounds of the other characters. He went into a lot about Jasper, and Jasper is an intriguing character because he's the most vampire of the vampires in the original series. So she kind of goes into that in the first chapter, and I hope we get some more of that. I would like to know more about Jasper and Alice and their relationship and how they met. These are things that I'm really hoping that she's going to tie up these ends inside the book. So anyway, I will let you guys go for now, and I hope that you guys will join me again as I read the next couple of chapters, and leave some comments down below and tell me, what do you think of the book? Are you reading Midnight Sun? Are you completely anti-Twilight and, have a million reasons as to why it's destructive? Feel free to put that in the comments, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.